And a sicko who encourages sexting between 15-year-olds by bluntly stating, sexting is here to stay, and that sexting is just another aspect of normal sexual behavior, as the 3 R's curriculum does. Sexting is so normal, they say, the perverts and the sickos who created the curriculum, that homework assignments to these teenagers is to share their fresh understanding of sexting with at least 4 of their friends. What else do you call someone if not a pervert and a sicko who wants 4th graders reading graphic books replete with different sex positions and pleasuring techniques, as the 3 R's curriculum does? Material so graphic, mind you, that our state's version of C-SPAN, TVW, found it necessary, while this bill was being debated on the House floor, to issue this warning in the Chiron. Mature subject matter. Viewer discretion advised. Yet because the perverts and sickos have presented this material under the banner of comprehensive sex education and packaged their legislation around the idiotic, progressive buzzwords of social justice, somehow they think that they are free to sexually stimulate our children in the classroom and rob them of their innocence, and we're just all supposed to be okay with it. But we're not okay with it. You know, let's say this wasn't the legislature. Let's say this was outside of politics. And outside of politics, there was this man, hypothetically named Jay Ensley. And I know who you are. And let's say this man, hypothetically named Jay Ensley, decided he was going to go onto his computer at night and strike up an online conversation with the 10-year-old in a chat room. And let's say during this online chat with the 10-year-old, hypothetical Jay Ensley started typing passages from the book It's Perfectly Normal, which is recommended reading under this legislation. And let's say hypothetical Jay Ensley decided to quote to this 10-year-old the following passage from the book. Having sex can involve the penis and the vagina, or the mouth and the genitals, or the penis and the anus. And let's say hypothetical Jay Ensley ended this online chat by inviting the boy to meet him at the governor's mansion after school so that he can give the youngster illustrations directly from the book on how to perform these sexual acts. Now, yeah, you know who would be meeting hypothetical Jay Ensley after school? No, it wouldn't be this 10-year-old boy. It would be Chris Hansen and his film crew went To Catch a Predator. Have a seat, Jay Ensley. Why do you want to talk about anal sex with this 10-year-old? And then, hypothetical Jay Ensley would be promptly arrested for sex crimes against a minor. But what would be considered sexual grooming in any other context is now deemed not only permissible, but educational, because it is in service to a radical, progressive agenda. In a statement, that's right, in a statement that would make even Orwell blush, Democrat State Senator Claire Wilson said that her sex ed bill will improve the safety of children statewide. Improve! But you don't need, that's right, perverts and sickos, that you don't need sex ed curriculum starting in kindergarten, going all the way through high school to delineate between appropriate and inappropriate touching. You don't need all of K through 12 to educate children about sexual harassment or about the basics of sex and reproduction. These topics can easily be discussed in a lesson or two at an age-appropriate time. The reason why progressives in Olympia seek sex education starting at such a young age is because they are not interested in education. Their aim is indoctrination. Public schools are used by progressives as a vehicle to impose their value system on our kids despite our objections. Officials at the superintendent's office are not neutral players guided by evidence and facts as they claim. Instead, they are partisan activists who ascribe to progressive orthodoxy with religious fervor and faith. They have a pre-commitment to a leftist worldview. And let's take Chris Reichdahl. I'm glad we have someone running against him. Let's take him as an example. This guy is the superintendent of public schools, right? He was asked point blank on a radio show, the Dory Monson show, recently, if a boy can become pregnant. He refused to answer.
Coward!
He refused to answer.
Coward!
To be clear, the perv genius running our public schools declined to comment on if a boy could ever become pregnant. Why couldn't he state the obvious? Because his party consists of science deniers and flat earthers, where biology now takes a backseat to a person's feelings. For instance, the 3 R's curriculum, which Veto approved, laments that kindergarten teachers, quote, must refer to girls and boys and male and female when identifying body parts. But not to worry, because, quote, lessons in higher grades use more precise language and begin to introduce a broader concept of gender. By first grade, perv genius Chris Reichdahl wants toddlers reading My Princess Boy. And by 6th grade, he wants kids confused further with class discussions on the differences between someone with a vulva and a girl. Because, according to these science deniers, flat earthers, you can be a girl and not have a vulva. Just like you can be a man and apparently menstruate.
No.
Yeah, I know. What is wrong with these nuts? Someone needs to just get them in the corner and say, you're being a lunatic. Do you hear yourself speak? But probably the worst part of this bill is the complete disregard for parental rights. According to Chris Reichdahl's own numbers, nearly 60% of parents in a survey oppose this so-called comprehensive sex education. As the hundreds of parents, many of whom are here, flock to the hearings demonstrating. But the desire of parents was usurped because, at the end of the day, progressives in Olympia are unhinged. They think that they can raise your children better than you can. Rather than ask parents to opt in to their worldview involving sexuality and gender, they want you to opt out. But see, that relationship is backwards. We don't serve them. They serve us. And what these elitists and sickos and perverts forget is that there's an election just around the corner. And when you blatantly disregard the will of voters, well, the voter has a tendency to clap back. And get ready for a resounding clap, one that's going to inform every parent of Jay Inslee and his party's attempt to usurp parental rights, brainwash our children with dangerous ideology, rob them of their innocence, all under the deceptive banner of comprehensive sex education. Our fight, folks, has just begun.
They're going to introduce themselves. Good afternoon. I am Senator Linda Wilson from the 17th District, which is Clark County. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I'm Senator Ann Rivers from Washington's 18th Legislative District, which is also in Clark County. Hello, everyone. I'm State Senator Sharon Brown from the 8th Legislative District, representing the Tri-Cities and Washington Republicans. We stand with you.
I'm from Tri-Cities. It's awful. Gender isn't real. Read a book.
The Spokane Valley, we stand with you.
Which is just north of Spokane. I'm the candidate in East Idaho. I'm also the Senate Republican coordinator who led the actions Saturday when they tried to stop our debate and keep us back.
I'm Senator Phil Fortunato of 31st Legislative District.
Inslee said that God told him to veto a bill one time at the prayer breakfast because people called him. So everybody here needs to encourage everybody to call him to tell him to veto this. Tell him God spoke to him again.
I'm Senator Randy Becker from the 2nd Legislative District. I stand with you, and I voted no along with all of us.
Lovely to see you all here. I'm Senator Keith Wagoner from the 39th Legislative District, serving Skagit, Snohomish, and parts of King County, and we voted with you. Thank you. I'm Senator Tim Sheldon. I represent all of Mason County, part of Kitsap, and part of Thurston right here. Thank you for coming. Many of you testifying against this bill. I've been here 30 years.
I had to leave mine.
Longer than any member.
Get over here.
I am a Democrat. I am the only Democrat. What is wrong with the Democrats? What are they thinking? Parental rights matter. Thank you again. Thank you again.
Senate Republican leader Mark Chesler from the 9th Legislative District. I couldn't be any prouder of my team that every single one of them voted with the parents and grandparents of this state. Thank you.
Senator, with you, we voted no to this bill.
Senator Jim Honeyford from the 15th Legislative District, rural Yakima County, and I'm proud to say we stood with you and we voted no. I'm Ron McGall. I'm from the 10th Legislative District. Some of you know me as the Happy Farmer. On the farmer, we know the difference between procreation, recreation, and love. I voted with the parents. My name is Senator Steve O'Ban from the 28th Legislative District. And I stand with all of you in opposition to this. What is age appropriate? Who best will decide that issue? Come on, you took the words right out of my mouth. State Senator for Washington County in the 42nd Legislative District. Thank you for being here. I just want to say, fight for your kids. That's all about it. It's about your children, the innocence of children, letting them grow up in Washington State in a way that's appropriate for you and your family, not for the people behind you on the second floor up there in those office buildings. You know what's right in Washington County, by the way? It's the capital of homeschooling in Washington State. So, they might be a lot more customers if this keeps going on like this.
Going first is we didn't get to say we stand with parents. Hear that chant right now. We stand with parents. 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 Thank you. All right, next in line, we'd like to hand the microphone over to all of those courageous members of the House. Could you believe the testimonies that we heard when they tried to defend us at the hearings? My goodness, with the limited tools they have, they were incredible. So we want them to be recognized. So come on up, please, our members of the House.
Good afternoon. The Constitution was made for days like this. I'll tell you what. My name is State Representative Chris Corey. I'm in the 14th Legislative District, Yakima, Skamania, and I am so proud of you guys for being here. And I'm going to give one quick shout out to a special mama bear out there. My wife is here today because she knows that it's our job to parent our children and not the government. this fight does not stop today. We've got a long road ahead of us, so get ready.
Hey everybody, I'm Sexxx. Bless you all for being here, but remember, today is just the start. Today is the beginning of a battle that's going to take us through the summer and the fall and to this November. Don't stop, don't give up, keep organizing, keep talking to your families, keep talking to your neighbors, and make sure that people with common sense and dignity and the love of their families and local communities turn out this November. We will restore practical, good government to Olympia here. I promise you, we will.
I'm Matt Shea from the 4th District of Previous store you brought these so straight. Christos was great! Christos was great! Hello, brothers and sisters, and that was Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Our Judeo-Christian values are worth fighting for, aren't they? Like many of my colleagues, we fought all night long, and we would have continued fighting into the rising sun for our children. And I want to say one thing about the Gladiator. There's a great scene in there where he says, "Shields together, fight as one. Shields 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 together, fight as one. We will keep doing this. We will keep fighting for our kids because it's the next generation that will also live free, not just us. If Stalin wouldn't even have done comprehensive sex education, the Democrats shouldn't either. God bless you guys.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Vicki Kraft, State Representative of the 17th Legislative District. We have fought hard. We have fought. Has been consented to by OSCI and obviously by many of these Democrats, all but one. We have found out the truth, and the truth is on our side. And we will fight so that the truth will prevail, and you and your children and your families, we will prevail. There are more of us. Stand strong. Keep fighting. Keep making your voices heard. I would even encourage you to make a stop right over to the governor's office right after this. So with that, God bless you all. We will keep fighting to the very end for you and your families. Stand strong. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Sherilyn Eslick. I'm from the 39th District. That's counties of Snohomish, Segreville, and a little bit of Columbia. Many of you here were very uncomfortable with the first speech that was brought to you. If you are uncomfortable, imagine what our children are going to be. Oh my gosh, so we absolutely have to get rid of that curriculum. If nothing else happens today, you make sure you go to your local school board and get rid of that curriculum. We cannot have it. So please, absolutely run for school board, get involved, and talk to your neighbors. We've got to get more of us down here. We've got to become the majority so this stuff doesn't happen. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every one of you.
I'm Robert J. Sutherland from the 39th Legislative District. How are you guys doing today? I want to hear from you guys in the back too. How are you guys doing today? We heard how some of our representatives voted no for this bill. I want to tell you, I didn't vote no. I voted hell no. These are our kids. Get your hands off our kids. We'll decide what's good for our kids, not you politicians in this. The bill is on James' desk right now. What do we want him to do? What do we want him to do? Veto! 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 Thank you guys for showing up. Without you, we can't do anything. We're outnumbered. We lose the votes every time. But with you guys here, we can send shivers down their spine because they're spineless. They want our kids, and they're not going to get our kids. They got to come through you and me to get our kids. We will fight! 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 I got you with a crowd like this, I have to hear it. USA! 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 Showing up today! We can't do it without you! God bless you! God bless America!
Hey, I'm Representative Jesse Young from the 26th District. God bless every one of you. Listen, I have a simple question. If they think they're so right, why wouldn't they debate us? Over 200 amendments on this bill, and the Speaker arbitrarily took down 85% of them. Shame on them. Make no mistake. When you see the arguments that come out and try to gaslight us to say that it's an opt-out, you don't have to have your kids. Why isn't it an opt-in? If you're so righteous, why don't you debate your points? Because they're wrong, and they want our kids, and we will fight. I don't know if there's any more chance to say after Robert got you all going down, but make no mistake. This needs to be the November ballot initiative. We need to kill this. They need to see in Seattle, definitively, once and for all, that parents will finally stand up and kick this crap to the curb. No more! No more! No more! No more! God bless every single one to stand up for this fight. Parents have a right to teach their kids.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Kelly Chambers. I represent the 25th Legislative District of Pierce County. Thank you for being here. I know you feel like you were not heard this session. I see you. Thank you for being here. Bring some more people. Tell somebody. We have to grow this movement and let other people know what is being done to the children in Washington State. You have a right to parent your children and control the information that they're exposed to. That's why you don't send them particular movies or let them play certain games or see violent things or exposed to certain language. You get to parent your children. I'm sorry that you were not heard here this year, but we see you, and this movement is going forward, so thank you for being here and fighting for our kids. And I'm Luann Morgan, State Representative from Whatcom County. For being here. I am a very angry mom and a very angry grandma. So what the Democrats in here have done to our families is so wrong. And your signs say it all. I wish you were down here to see it. It's like too much, too soon. No means no. Veto school born. Let kids be kids. These signs are so important, and your being here is so important. I want you to know we are not done. We are going to fight this, and as soon as our governor signs that bill, we are going to he will. But we have a plan in action, and we're going to hit the pavement, and we're going to fight.
except my poor fiance. So, anyway, what I want to tell you, every single one of you, pretty much everybody here has, if you're an adult, you have a phone. I want you to get on that phone right now. I want you to get on that phone, and I want you to email Governor Inslee. I want you to tell him what you think about this bill. Every single one of you right now. Pull out your phones.
Yeah, what's his
I've
email?
already emailed it.
Email it.
So get on your phones and stay late all afternoon if it takes it to go by his office and tell him exactly what we say.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, what's his
We
email?
want to thank all our representatives and senators for taking the time to come down here today. We also have we have a few more speakers that would like the opportunity to address you. They have been shoulder to shoulder the entire time this session has been going through, so we want to have them recognized. First up, I'd like to introduce Mark Malosha from the Family Policy Institute.
Thank you all for coming here today. This fight is not just against the governor. We want him to veto the bill, but he's not. But this is a fight against evil. Against powers and principalities not of this world. They're coming after our children, and they're using our schools to come after our children and our churches. It's time for all Christians and social conservatives and people of all faiths to revolt against this evil that's coming after our children. I want you to not just stop after this battle, but this is a long-term fight. Will you be part of this fight against evil? Will you fight next November? If you do, God will bless us and God will bless our children. The Family Policy Institute will not sit down out of this fight. It's time for you to join this fight and fight and fight. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mark, and all your help. FPIW is instrumental in getting people out here. So next I'd like to introduce Dawn Seaver. She's part of Informed Parents of Washington, but she's also part of PRE, which has been leading the fight in Battleground, Washington. I don't know if you're aware of what's happening down there, but there's been a battle for 3 years now over this curricula down in her area, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about that. Dawn Seaver.
We can't hear you!
Southwest Washington Parents' Rights and Education, and for close to 2 years, we've been engaged in battles.
Still can't hear you.
Gotta yell. Okay, gotta yell, but we'll see what we can do here. You might have heard of us, actually. The other day, we were actually featured on Planned Parenthood's Veto Day. They brought us down here, along with our wonderful representatives from Health Craft. Yes, yeah, it was. But, you know, we kind of figure that if we're ruffling Planned Parenthood's feathers, we must be doing something right. So when we first heard that they were going to try to bring the Flash curriculum in, we actually went out and purchased the curriculum. And as we looked at it, we realized that if people knew what was inside, that they would be outraged. And they were. But you know what they always tell us? What do they tell us about CSC? It's age appropriate and it's medically accurate. Well, no, it's not. No matter how many times they say it, it is not. Not only that, it doesn't give kids complete and accurate information. I mean, would you, for example, want your teen daughter dating a boy who's been told that the withdrawal method is free, always available, and works better than you might think? No! And is not told about the 22% failure rate? Right, it doesn't work. So we're also told that kids need complete information to keep themselves healthy. But actually, CSC is comprehensive. It's not comprehensive enough where it needs to be, and it's too comprehensive where it shouldn't be. What we did, wrote a letter to the editor. We had a community meeting to let people know what was going on. And within 2 weeks, from going to that first meeting where there was about a dozen of us against it, to 2 weeks later at the second reading, we actually had almost 250 people show up at that second meeting, and it was taken off the agenda. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So we're still fighting today, but we've had a significant impact in the community and on the curriculum, and you can too. So I'd like to encourage you today to create groups in your communities, go to your district office, find out what curriculum they're using and which lessons they're using. Go and look at that curriculum, make sure you read it, know what's in it. Write letters to the editor, share the information with your community, go to the board meetings, and get to know your board members and let them know what you're concerned about. And if there are any openings on the school board, by all means run for office. Because we need to take back our schools. So you can make a difference, just like we did, just like our friends in Squim and Grandview did when they stopped CSE in their communities as well. We're here for you. We have resources, we have examples that we can help you out with. Give us a little grace. It's been a little crazy last year, so we're running behind. But we are here to support you. And I want to thank you for coming out. This was really more than we ever could have imagined. Really appreciate it. Thank you for caring about our kids.
Thank you, Don. And I just have two announcements in regards to how important the school board engagement is, okay? For Informed Parents of Washington, we are trying to get communities organized by school district. We ask that you look around and see if maybe you already have a group that has started. If you don't have one, message us on Facebook and we can set up Informed Parents of whatever your school district is, okay? And then as people start messaging in, we can start connecting you with others in your community who want to help fight this, okay? And then the people from Free and the Battleground, they are putting together possibly a conference and maybe a school board 101, so that we're going to start helping train the leaders in these groups so that we can get organized and get our shields together, right? So let's try and all work together to keep fighting this. All right, up next, we have Dr. Sarah Bartel. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a representative who arrived late to the party, and he wants to come here and have a moment to address you.
This is incredible. This is the biggest group I've seen since I've been elected. We can be teaching us a new world. Let me sign up there. Keep them innocent longer. I'm with you. That's exactly how I feel when we were on the floor debating this bill. And I remember, why do we want to take the innocence? You have 10 or 12 years of innocence in your life, and then we have to put up with everything else. Why do we want to steal that from them? We don't, do we? We are going to overturn this. We are going to get this done. However we have to do it. As the lady said, run for school board, run for office. We're pushing back. We're going to win this. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Okay, sorry about that. Now we're back to Dr. Sarah Bartel.
I stand before you as a mom of 5 kids and a moral theologian and a woman wanting to be engaged in making her state safe for kids. Last spring, Peggy, Kim, and I were looking at the bills before the legislature in January thinking, well, what can we rally together as women to be a voice that is not wear pink? We are not Planned Parenthood women. She said, all I see is this sex ed bill. What's in here? And I was like, oh, comprehensive sex ed. That's bad. We did not ask for this. Parenthood International has so much money, so much power. They asked for this. They got their tentacles into the OSPI. I don't know who they paid. I don't know how they convinced them, but they got OSPI thinking this is our kids, our top priority, more than math, science, reading, which our kids are not performing at. They need customers. Yeah, exactly, because they profit at every juncture. Planned Parenthood wrote the curriculum with government money. Planned Parenthood is grooming our kids to be their lifelong customers. Planned Parenthood wants to move in with their school clinic and directly serve our kids behind our backs.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you so much. You know, we
We've all heard supporters of the bill claim that it will improve safety for our children, that it will give children the tools and knowledge to resist and report child abuse. We've even heard legislators talk about their own abuse of children, claiming that this bill would have made a difference in helping stop the abuse. No! It's not true. Aaron's Law was passed last year by the Washington legislature. It addresses child sexual abuse prevention in Washington state schools. It's even on the OSPI website about what they're doing on that. The state is already working on a program to prevent child abuse on top of what many, if not most, districts, schools, teachers, and parents are already doing. Instead, this radical sex ed curriculum puts kids more at danger, and you all know about that. At this House hearing, 3 courageous teen women spoke up. One was called on at the hearing, the other 2 weren't. We heard them at the debrief meeting afterwards. They had CSE in 6th grade, and it led to them being sexually harassed by boys joking about the sexual topics and talk. Boys started grabbing girls inappropriately in school. One of the girls said, feeling violated is the new norm. Sexual harassment is a new norm. Lack of respect is a new norm. Graphic details, pornographic images, and inappropriate assignments have become part of everyday life. Boys make lewd and demeaning comments and treat it as if it's no big deal. It's only homework, right? But I'm so proud of those sweet girls that came and spoke. It was so hard as a teen girl to come speak at a hearing on sex ed. And they were proud, they were strong and brave, and I appreciate Christian Merritt who helped bring them and prepare them. This is not what we want for our girls or our boys. We demand the right to have a say in the education of our children, not having it forced on us, on our schools, and on our children. Don't tell us that this curriculum only teaches about healthy relationships and protecting children when we can clearly see from the curriculum OSPI has already approved that it's not true. Governor Inslee, veto this bill.
Thank you so much, Beth. Okay, we are going to bring the videos of the girls that we recorded back up to the top of our Facebook page so you guys can listen to how beautifully they stated this, okay? It's important that their message gets out too. Also, I gave a talk at a conference this past weekend, and it was pretty well received. It gave a lot of the history about how this whole thing got going. So look, stay tuned on iPow. We're probably going to start doing some Facebook Live so we can give you more information and help you form your arguments for those who would argue against you. So stand by for that as well. Okay, up next, I just had an interview with Cairo. We have a draw on the press here today. I think that's pretty much hopefully I don't sound ridiculous. I'm not a professional spokesperson. So, the reason I'm telling you that is they asked me, why are there so many people from the Slavic community here? And I told them, that's right, that's exactly right. You're a citizen of this state. Your families have come here to escape government overreach and we thank you for being here. We have a representative. He just wants to announce his name is Kyle, who would like to speak to you.
Guys, how many Slavic people here? Can you guys raise your hand? Can you guys give a big shout out? Thank you all guys for coming. It really encouraged us.
Спасибо, что вы здесь, вы нас поддержали.
We're here today not only for ourselves.
Мы здесь не ради себя.
We're for our future, our kids, and for our country.
Это будущее наших детей и нашей страны.
Guys, this country, United States of America,
эта страна, Америка,
gave us a lot of good things in our life.
Она много сделала для нас.
It's time to pay back. Guys, don't be silent.
Не молчите, друзья.
I will encourage you, please get involved in the political life of state of Washington.
Пожалуйста, включайтесь в предвыборные кампании.
That's the way how we can change everything in here.
Только так мы можем поменять процессы.
Guys, don't be discouraged. If we lost the battle, it doesn't mean we lost the war.
Если мы потеряем эту битву, это не значит, что мы проиграли всю войну.
We know who won the war for us. It's Jesus Christ. Guys, thank you all for coming. God bless you and God bless America.
Thank you very much. All right, we have one more speaker. She's my good friend and another co-founder of iPal, Winnie Holt. Here she comes. Come on, Winnie. All right, she walks in. Stand by.
Hello, hello. I just want a quick show of hands. For how many of you is this the first issue that has brought you down to Olympia? Mine too. Little confession, I haven't been down here since probably my 8th grade field trip. But this year alone, this marks my 8th time since January 13th being down at Olympia. That's how much this issue means to me, and I know it means that much to you. And they know it too because they got your thousands of emails and phone calls over this sex ed bill, so thank you for that. They got that. We're not here today just to protest 5395 or whatever bill number Olympia wants to hide this agenda behind. We are here in opposition of the sexual education method known as CSE, or Comprehensive Sexual Education. Don't let their addition of the word health fool you. Olympia voted to mandate is CSE, and CSE is not sex ed, it is sexuality education. OSPI didn't invent it, so they don't get to redefine it. International Planned Parenthood Federation states in their framework for CSE that our approach includes an emphasis on sexual expression, sexual fulfillment, and sexual pleasure. This represents a shift away from methods that focus exclusively on the reproductive aspects of adolescent sexuality. This approach is evidenced by the explicit and pornographic material that we have all seen in the curriculum that OSPI has already reviewed and approved for use in schools. And I'll tell you what, if I hear Chris Raycroft saying one more time that this is age appropriate, I'm gonna scream. Do it! This material more closely resembles a grooming textbook for predators. And Detective Feudal with the Crime Stoppers Sex Trafficking Division agreed when he read it. In no way, shape, or form does CSE belong in public education. Despite all of the public outcry, they pushed it through, and I was here in Olympia that night. They passed the bill out of the House. I sat in that gallery and listened as amendment after amendment was rejected. I listened as they rejected a move to secure the wording so that CSE would not be allowed to be integrated into other subjects, which will nullify any opt-out. I listened as they denied teachers the right to opt out of teaching this curriculum to their students. They voted down the amendment prohibiting role-playing in sexual scenarios. They voted down the amendment prohibiting lessons that require students to become lobbyists for causes regardless of their personal beliefs or feelings. I listened with tears as they voted down an amendment which would have required any lesson on pornography to include its potential risks, including addiction, disassociation, and the objectification and normalization of violence towards women. I guess Me Too isn't that important when you want to pass a bill. And sure, schools can write their own curriculums if they can afford the hundreds of thousands of dollars one district estimated it would cost them, but it still has to be CSE compliant and approved by OSPI. At that cost, many districts will just have to pick one of these prefabricated curriculums that we have all come to know and hate. We need more! Earlier this year, OFPI asked the people if we wanted CSE in schools, and out of 10,000 respondents to their survey, 58% of those said no. And I am sure that number is much higher now that we have actually seen for ourselves what is in this. It is imperative that those who claim to want to teach affirmative consent actually follow the rules of the policies they want to enforce and accept the loud no they receive from Washington state citizens on this issue. So here we are on the steps of the Capitol asking our elected governor to be the one to listen to us. I will fight for my taxes, but I will die for my children. This is my #1 voting issue come November, and I am sure it is for you too. So Governor Inslee, hear us now. No to comprehensive sex ed. Veto the bill.
Well, I think you probably understand why now the iPal Facebook page has been rocking it. Can you believe what this girl is doing? I'm so proud of her friend. Right, we have a couple of our representatives from the House who we've used their sound bites to clobber the other side. We'd like to give them a second to address you as well. Come on up.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Representative Michelle Caldier. And let me tell you, I have been fighting this for the last couple months, actually last year too. And one of the most difficult things that I found was that Planned Parenthood, who they have been pushing this legislation, and when I read the curriculum for the 3 R's, it has in there that if your child is pregnant, if your child has got concerns about STDs, or if they need birth control, do you know where it directs you to go? Planned Parenthood. That is a huge conflict of interest. Okay? And so here's the thing, is that you guys need to continue to fight. You guys are doing such a great job. Keep your voices up. We are listening. We are listening, okay? And we need to make sure that the governor listens too. Okay? And so we have to go up and vote, but I'm going to pass the baton on to Representative Jenny Graham.
Hi, I'm Jenny Graham from Spokane 6th District. I want to thank all of you for making time to be here today to fight this very important issue. I've known about this for quite some time. I'm not sure if anybody has heard of Teen Aid. Yes. So Teen Aid has done a really good job of educating people just like me about this legislation. And one of the things, there's so many of you that are here that this is absolutely wonderful, because one of the most heartbreaking things that I'm seeing right now as I look at social media are the people that are saying that there's other people that they're talking to or they know that are saying that this is fake, or that they don't believe this, or that the government would not do this to our families and our children. So I'm asking, I'm pleading that if you have the opportunity to talk to your friends, to go to your schools, to go on social media, we need to bring more people into the circle to send that message that these are our children, not the government's children, our children, and we will raise them how we see fit.
Thanks, Dave. My name's Alex Ibarra, and I'm from Quincy, Washington, District 13. And I've already voted no on this bill. And I think so we did what we could at that time, but now you guys are here to make the governor does not sign that bill. So I'm happy with that. When I was on the floor talking about this particular bill, talked about my daughter. I had a daughter who my wife and I at the time brought up, taught her the values that we felt were the values that she grew up with. Taught her everything that she needed, to be a grown-up, to have the right values as a young lady. And we didn't have any government involvement. We didn't need government involvement. Right. This is the parents' right, not the government's right. So that's why we're all here to make sure that this thing doesn't go through. So thanks everybody for coming. I've got a special guest, Maya Espinosa. She's running for Olympia. She thinks the way we think. So.
Did we get everyone? Okay. All right, I'd like to bring up another warrior in this effort, Olga Persenko. She just recently launched a webpage. We'd like to have you take a look at it. It's United Nation Under God, which is the letter U and UG God. I'm sorry, UNUGod.org. Okay?
Большое спасибо всем, кто здесь находится. Здесь мы открыли веб-сайт для всех единственных, в которую мы все вместе соединимся. Она называется unitednationundergod.org. unugod.org. Запишитесь в ней все, и для детей, и для взрослых, под номером 1, 2 и больше. Будем контактировать все вместе там. Thank you.
All right, have I missed anyone else? Peggy? All right, did you still want to read the letter? Okay, so here's what's going to happen here as we wrap this up. We have crafted a letter that we're going to take to Governor Inslee's office. You may see people holding white flowers. We thought there was going to be maybe 50 to 100 people here, so we're a little short on the flowers, okay? But here's what we're going to do. Once Peggy reads the letter that we're going to take to Governor Inslee, we also have a basket of our favorite required reading for him to peruse in his free time, because we're not fans. And then we are going to peacefully and not mob-like or threatening in any way walk into the building behind you. We're going to go to his office, and if you have a white flower, we're going to have you drop it in a basket there while we present the books. And since we don't have enough, if you have a green ribbon, you can throw that in there too. We would just like him to get an idea of how many people showed up today to oppose this bill. Again, we thought there'd be like 50 people here, and look around. And that doesn't even count. Doesn't even count hundreds of people who are doing sit-outs across the state to oppose this bill. So keep in mind, there is a lot of people opposing this, and we need to keep the pressure on, even if the bill passes. So I'd like to introduce Peggy Oban, who's going to read the letter. We're going to deliver to Jay Inslee following, once we wrap this up. I'm sorry. Okay, wait, I'm sorry, we have one guest speaker who just popped out of the blue. We'd like to introduce Ashley.
Allegiance says freedom and justice for all. This is not freedom or justice. We children are citizens too. What in the world are going to start coming after that student curriculum? Are we going to let them? No! Are we going to protect our children like us? Yes! We do not come out of them. They are not going to teach us to bathe with other people. First it's children bathing with each other. Now it's going to be the teachers.
Alright, so what I wanted to do was just read the letter that your signatures are basically signatories on this letter. And after we're done, I'm just going to sort of part the crowd and we're
Dear Governor Inslee, we join a growing coalition of parents across the state, angered by the changes to our school sex ed courses proposed by ESSB 5395. This bill mandating so-called comprehensive sexual health education into every neighborhood school is not standardized sex ed. It removes any meaningful control, local control, because only curricula approved by OSPI are considered compliant with OSPI standards for CSE. Moreover, the CSE curricula currently approved by OSPI encourages children from kindergarten on up to explore and experiment in methods of sexual pleasure, despite the legal age of consent in our state, which is consistent with child development science. Nor are they medically accurate, safe, or age appropriate. Now I have a list here which I won't go through, but as I said, stunning examples cited in the lessons, page numbers. Nobody can ever say that we're making this up. And by the way, on Informed Parents of Washington Facebook page, these are all screenshotted and included for you to send to your friends.
They don't think they're real. They think they're...
Well, as I said, that's why Southwest Washington Parents for Rights and Education, that's why they've taken the time to actually cite the number of the lesson, the page number, it's in quotes, and if they care at all, they can look it up. So this is not sexual violence prevention as proclaimed by OSPI Superintendent Chris Rickdahl in his testimony for SB 5395 last year. In fact, 8th grade students who are in schools where CSE has been implemented submitted testimony that it has done the opposite. It has fostered a sexualized culture of harassment on campus. Parental notification was added to this version of the bill, but does not require the notification include any description of what CSE actually teaches. It does not state if you are opting out of individual lessons or the entire program. You cannot opt out of guest speakers, and it does not address the difficulties of parents who do not speak English. Additionally, vague language in the bill leaves room for OSPI's stated goal to have CSE integrated across all subjects, obliterating the promise of being able to opt out. And this is according to Lori Dills, the top officer for sex ed at the OSPI. Yeah, it's in an interview she did with Planned Parenthood, and it's also posted on our Facebook page. You cannot opt out of the cultural change this sexually charged curriculum will bring to school. Constituents and the stakeholders who should really count, parents, have clearly told you again and again that we do not want CSE taught in our schools. Last year, when the legislature tried to pass CSE, 5 hearing rooms were filled with objectors. 2 weeks ago, of the 755 of those who signed in at the House Education Committee's hearing, 635 were against the mandate. And we know there were hundreds of Slavic parents who came to object, who were not able to quickly navigate the English-only electronic sign-in page in time. Last summer, when OSPI released a survey, 58% of parents registered their objection to CSE. Moreover, you heard from school board members at the House Education Committee meeting that the enormous cost of implementing this divisive mandate will blow up public trust and education budgets, particularly in small districts, and violate districts' local control. Finally, public school education is a sacred trust. We give our children to our local schools for 6 to 7 hours a day, more awake time than we have with them. In turn, we expect the values that we choose for our families will not be undermined. Parents, not bureaucrats or OSPI working groups empowered in 5395, parents are the primary guardians of their children's best interests, especially in areas as sensitive as sexual identity and development. Vote no, veto, ESSB 5395, Sincerely, and you've all signed it, as you know.
Okay, we have one more representative that showed up that would like to speak with you, so please come on forward.
Hello, thank you. First off, give yourselves a huge round of applause for coming out today. This is fantastic. My name is Jesse Jensen, and I'm running for the 8th Congressional District, trying to take back Dave Reichert's old seat. We need more guys like myself who are willing to listen to voters like you, right? You're coming out, you're fighting for what you know is right. I used to be in the military. I used to jump out of perfectly good airplanes and have people shoot at me. I had not been this excited since being shot at, right? This is fantastic. We need to make enough noise so that Governor Inslee hears us, right? So let's make some noise right now. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home, and man, I have never been more scared about Washington State education than I am today. This is ridiculous. So thank you again for coming out. We need to fight. We need to fight to make sure that the good folks here make this message known at the state level. We need to continue to fight to take back some more Republican-held seats on the other side, and to fight for people who are willing to do what's right at the national level, like myself, Jesse Jensen. We've got some great gubernatorial candidates out here. One more time, give yourselves a huge round of applause. This is fantastic. Thank you for fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. We should not be having this kind of sexualized education in kindergarten. We have health class. You don't talk to strangers. That's it, right? That's it. That's all you need to know. I summed it up in 2 sentences. We don't need this education. Thank you again so much for coming out. This is great. Thank you.
All right, we want to start it one more time. I'm terrible at this. We will fight.
We will fight. We will fight. We will fight! 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 We will fight!
Let's head to exit office! Let Whitney get up there. Okay, again, we don't want to be called in the press an angry mob. Okay, that's not going to help our cause. All right? Hey, Whitney, can you take the basket of books with you? Don Land, if you have that special selection, can you find Whitney at the top? Because we didn't quite get it in the basket yet. All right. So here's what we'd like to do. Whitney is going to lead people to the governor's office. If we can kind of funnel in one at a time. And can I have someone also carry this basket up? Okay, take it up to the top. Find Whitney. And that will be what you put, you can put your ribbon in if you were lucky enough to get one of the few flowers we brought. That's what we're going to do. We just like the governor to have a sense of how many people are actually here. Thank you so much. Look for the referendum paperwork coming out. If you signed an online petition, you're going to have to sign an actual referendum paperwork, but we'll be posting that coming up, okay? So let's follow Whitney. We'll find Governor Inslee's office. We're going to be polite, and we're just going to leave the flower and let him know we came today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Hey folks, I sang your national anthem, and I just want to let you know I infiltrated a Planned Parenthood meeting, and they actually said, because they didn't know who I was, they actually said the reason we're getting so much pushback is because those awful conservative Christians got involved in our school board. So get involved in the school board.
And also, if you have one of our email sheets, we kind of
Там небо, где Христос со мной, слава Христу.
суше море над землей, там небо, где Христос со мной, помог Христу, Он спас меня, простил грехи, открыл себя, на суше море.